Hi guys, welcome back for another video. Do you have children or you are thinking about children and are thinking about setting up a savings account for them? If any of these scenarios apply to you, then stay tuned and I'll talk you through all the different savings accounts that you can access for your children. So firstly, why do you want to save for children? Well, I mean, it might not be obvious, but the reason would be that you'd want to set your children up so that they have access to money for various things throughout their life, whether it's they choose to go to uni, go backpacking around the world, or whether it's for a house deposit. As parents, we all want to give our children the opportunities that maybe we didn't have, or help our children as best as we can to give them the financial stability and the financial cushion to be able to go and make the right decisions for them and to explore the world and enjoy the world and not be constrained by money. Now, obviously, some people are in a better position to give their children the wide variety of opportunities that the world offers. But if you're like me and you work for a living and you work for somebody else, then saving for your children will be able to give you that peace of mind that you've done the best that you can to help your children to go forward in life. So what are the different types of children's savings accounts? Well, the first one is a savings account, a regular savings account. You open it up from the time your child is born, and normally you have to put in a deposit of about £1 to open the account, and then you can set up any amount to go into the account as and when you have it available. So if, for example, you get child benefit and you don't actually need that money, then maybe you could put that into a regular savings account, and then if and when you need to access it to do something to pay for your child's living expenses or any other reason, then you can put it into that account. Now, with this account, you can access that money at any time, but the interest rates typically are not very good. The other type of savings account is a fixed rate savings account. If the name doesn't give it away, then basically you are given a fixed interest rate. So let's say, for example, 5%, and you would make regular deposits into that account, but you would not be able to touch that money usually for about a year, sometimes up to 5 years, because they're guaranteeing you a certain amount of interest on the amount that you'll put in. The other thing to bear in mind is that these accounts will penalise you for withdrawing money. If you can afford to put away that amount for at least 1 to 5 years, there might be the right account for you. Then you have junior ISAs. What you can invest in is a junior stocks and shares ISA. So in a previous video, I've shared with you a junior ISA for my daughter, and a junior ISA is basically a tax efficient way of saving for your child. The maximum amount you can put in is 9 grand a year. I wish I was in the position to put away 9 grand a year for one of my children, but if you do, then know that the maximum amount you can put in is £9,000. The thing to note about an ISA is that the money is locked away until the child is 18. When your child turns 18, they will get a letter to tell them that they have this money available and that they can access it. So if you have an older child, you may have had a child trust fund, and this was like a long-term savings account for children who were born between the years of 2002 and 2011, and it closed in 2011, I believe January of 2011. If you are fortunate enough that you can still pay money into it, then you can still do that up to £9,000 a year, but the money belongs to the child and they can take it out at the age of 18, although they have control of it at age of 16. So if you are concerned, for example, that your child is going to blow that money, which is a typical concern that I hear from some of the parents that I talk to, then you have to have those conversations with your child very early on. Because if you're earmarking it for them to use for university and they choose to go and buy a car with it, or they choose to go around the world and do whatever they want with it, then that's something that you have to accept. I don't believe in making restrictions on how your children should spend the money. I think you should have those early conversations with your children. And if they still choose to make a decision that you necessarily wouldn't have made, then that's up to them. You have given them all the information. They were 18. As you know, I don't remember being very mature with money at 18. That is the risk of basically allowing that amount of money to go to your child at the age of 18. Now, the final thing I'm going to talk about is something called a junior SIPP, junior self-invested pension, and this is where, again, you can invest for your children over the long term. You can open up an account for them, and that allows them to start to build into a pension over however many years. So you can contribute about £2,880 every single month into a SIPP for your child, and then the government adds a 20% tax relief on top of that. So in total, you'll be saving about £3,600 annually for your child to help them with a pension. The nice thing about the junior ISA is that by setting it up for your child, you've kind of done half of the hard work of planning for retirement for them. So by the time they're 18, they should have a good cushion depending on how much you're putting into the junior ISA for them. Most accounts will ask you to put in a minimum amount every single month, so normally about £20 to £25. So it's a reasonable amount to help your children with retirement planning. The obvious thing with a junior self-invested pension is that your child can't access it until they age of 55 and ever increasingly older. So if, for example, there was a lump sum sitting inside a junior SIPP, and your child needed the money for a deposit or some emergency came along, they couldn't access it until they're well into their 50s and maybe even 60s at this rate that we're going. So that's just something to bear in mind. But if you can afford to put away a small amount of money, every little helps, right? So that's it. If this has been helpful to you, then let me know. If you have any questions, then please drop them in the comment box and I will see you for the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.